Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another week, so you're here to talk to your bearded brothers. I'm Matt, and I'm not entirely here today.
I'm Chris, and that's a Loki, and I'm physically here, and he's annoying, so
There you
normal.
go. That's about the way that works. So this week, we promised a Melissa this week, and sadly she had to back out. Life and apparently our nephew's birthday and some other things got in the way, and she was
Mm,
unable to come up with quiz stuff in enough time to be a quiz master for us. We're still going to try to do that at some point in time, but we got to work the schedule around when she could be available. We
Probably
don't
be
want.
later, because she's in her busy season with taxes for her job.
Yeah,
It'd
and
probably
I
be later.
so probably after that ends,
Yep.
my guess is after all the extensions and everything else, probably sometime later this summer we'll be able to get her in
Yeah,
and get her on and have her quiz both of us to
I would
embarrass the
say
fuck
like
out of
June,
us.
July probably would
Yeah,
be.
that sounds reasonable. So we
Yeah.
do want to apologize for any people out there that would be disappointed in all of us, not being able to meet the rest of some of the family. But you know, she doesn't have a beard, so
You know, exactly.
you know what we might have to do since it is the bearded podcast.
We might have to get her to wear a beard.
Yeah, we might have to get her a fake beard that she can wear. I was thinking a la one of those hook beards, like what they
Yeah,
have
that's exactly what I was thinking.
in
Yeah.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. I'm
Yep.
so
Yep.
sorry, you cannot be seated without the proper attire. They put the beard on him.
Yep. Yep. Oh my god.
Oh, I haven't thought about that movie in a long time until just now.
Great movie.
It is.
Anyways,
There is some sports news to go over. Um,
indeed.
so, do we want to start with the wacky sports news, or do we want to start with serious sports news?
Which was? I think maybe we start serious, go to wacky, because then we can go to wackies to our absolute whack ass fucking
Basketball team?
picks for our. Well, I was actually gonna say our bracket picks, but either way works.
All right, so we'll go serious first, and then we'll move wacky. So, serious, NFL news: Gerald McCoy, six-time Pro Bowler, defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has officially retired. We wish him all the best. Very happy for him. He was a fantastic player. I think he
Mm-hmm.
did quite a good job, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. So,
I agree.
yeah, yeah. Other news. So the Commanders. I think this is pretty serious news, and I think there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that are Commanders fans that are now celebrating. Is that Dan Snyder has agreed in principle to sell the team to an investment group that includes Magic Johnson. This is the group that we first heard about back when they were first talking about selling the team, and he put a $6 billion price tag on it, and everybody was like, he's never going to get that. And then a group immediately came out and said, "We've got the money, we'll do it." And everybody went,
Well, in fact, we'll give you 6.5 million.
6.5 billion.
Billion. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody kind of laughed at that, and then there were all these other bids that were coming in, and then it wound up back to that bid because you didn't hear anything else about it. They kept a very
No.
low profile. This is a group of people. My understanding is they do own. I think they own the 76ers, and they
The
own
76ers, yeah.
They own another team somewhere. I can't remember which one.
Isn't
it
it
is.
like the
It's an
wasn't
East
it like a
Coast team.
Philadelphia?
I
The
No,
like-
maybe.
no.
I don't know. I know it's the Philadelphia 76ers, but I think it's further up the East Coast. I think they own something up in Boston somewhere.
Okay.
But so it's not surprising to see them throw their hat in the ring on this. It's very unsurprising to see this happen. We've all been kind of waiting for it to happen. I think everybody is very happy now. Of course, the owners have to vote on whether or not they will approve the sale. From what it sounds like, they will. They're pretty sick of Dan Snyder. and all of his negative stuff. To be honest, the only time that a rich person actually loses in a deal like this, and he's really not losing because he's getting $6 billion, but the only time that rich people lose out on deals like this is when they have had their hands in other rich people's pockets. And he's done the one thing, the one unforgivable crime amongst NFL owners, and that's he's bilked the other owners out of money.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
once you start fleecing your own kind, they're not going to look at you very favorably anymore.
Yeah, no. The other Commanders news is that they have apparently reached... Oh, no, that is that. With Harris was the guy's name. The Falcons have signed Bud Dupree to a 1-year deal. Linebacker Dupree. So that helps them out. What was the news? OBJ. Literally, within an hour after we recorded our mock draft, it came, and we both had the Ravens taking a wide receiver. It came out that they had signed Odell Beckham Jr.
They might not need to pick a wide receiver anymore.
Now they might not need to pick a wide receiver anymore. But you know what? Our mock draft happened before that signing, therefore we can't say much. Ish happens, man. They might still pick one, but...
They could still pick one there, yeah.
They could still pick one there. But now they could look at other things that they might need as well. Because they do need some other things.
Or possibly even move down if they want to, but I doubt
At that point, yeah, you could absolutely try to get more assets. All right. Purdy. We need to talk about Purdy. Because he did manage to avoid Tommy John surgery. Which
sounds
is
like
nice.
he'll be coming back pretty soon. Yeah.
Yes. So he might make it back for the beginning of the season. Which I think the 49ers would be ecstatic over.
Yeah.
And then you will have the training camp battle that is...
Then you have the true training camp battle, yeah.
Because you're going to have Lance, Purdy, and... what's that?
Darnold.
Darnold. And we're going to see who's coming and who's going and
That'd
who's
be
staying.
fun.
Well, and I almost wonder if they didn't bring in Darnold so they could try to trade Lance.
Maybe. Or Purdy, depending on whoever ends up sitting.
You would assume Darnold's going to be the backup.
Yeah.
And then whoever wins out between Darnold and Lance, the other one's probably getting traded. Or between Purdy and Lance, the other one is getting traded.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I can't say that
we just don't know which one's going to win that battle, so it's going to be up between Lance and Purdy.
100%. 100%. I fully agree.
Unless the 49ers want to go crazy and go, nah, we actually don't want Darnold. We just picked him up for the offseason.
Well, we picked him up because we weren't sure how Lance and Purdy were going to do.
Maybe.
We picked him up as insurance. I don't think
that's
moving
off of him is going to be really hard, though. Like, if you try to all of a sudden move off of him before you even have him for a full season, people are going to be like, ah!
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying I think either Purdy or Lance will be the one that gets traded. I'm leaning
one of
to
them
Lance,
goes, yeah.
But I think most people are, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went the other way.
Depends. Like, the thing is, we haven't seen much of Lance compared to what they've already seen of Lance.
Exactly.
So we don't actually know how much they've already evaluated how good he already is compared. And then, of course, he's had a lot of time to practice. Who knows actually how good he is now compared to what we've last seen him in? So
exactly, 100%. So I think that's something that's going to have to be, dealt with in some way, shape, or form. Let me see here. Other news. Let's talk real quick. We'll come back to football because there's some wacky football news.
I just thought of something interesting.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I thought this would be really interesting. If New England isn't all in on Mac Jones, imagine the 49ers willing to move off of Purdy. And then, because they've gotten Garoppolo, they've obviously traded with each other before because they got Garoppolo from New England. Imagine them then trading Purdy over to New England, and he would be a system quarterback. That would work so well in Bill Belichick's system. That would be interesting.
I don't know if you're right. I don't know if Garoppolo had another stop between New England and San Francisco.
No, he went from New England to San Francisco. I do not believe there was another stop. I
I'm
could be wrong.
I'm going to look real quick because I would
Okay.
swear that there was another stop somewhere.
There could have been. I didn't think there was, but
There is not. He went directly to San Francisco in 2017.
mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that was a trade. Was that a trade?
That was a
Yep.
trade. Yeah.
Patriots to the Niners for a second round pick.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know that they would.
No,
I think that if you had Brock
I
Purdy
don't
or
think-
Trey Lance that goes to New England, that would be
Yeah.
interesting. But I don't think Mac Jones is going back the other direction.
No. Mac Jones wouldn't go the other direction. No, they would have to offload Mac Jones to someone else. But
Yeah, at that point,
I'm
Mac
just saying
Jones
that would be
become
interesting.
available somewhere to someone. And
Yeah.
there are a couple of teams that would come sniffing.
yeah,
The Vikings might be one of them.
maybe.
I would say the Vikings, the Ravens, depending on what happens to Lamar. Also, so we'll do another couple of little football tidbits before we move on. Football tidbit 1: Aaron Rodgers has still not been traded.
At this point, I'm convinced it's not going to happen until draft day.
At this point, I'm convinced it's not going to happen until after draft day.
No, because it's got to happen before that. If the Packers want to get their picks,
That's true. That's very true. Somebody
it's got to happen
actually
before
said
or
that
on the day of.
Well, I came up with a package that made sense involving the picks. I don't know what else would be around it, but basically, the Packers and the Jets would swap firsts this year. So the Jets would move down to, the Packers would move up to, and then the Jets would trade a conditional first-round pick next year as part of the deal. I know they've been trying to figure out how to protect themselves in case Rodgers retires, and here's the protection. If Aaron Rodgers retires, it becomes a second-round pick, not a first-round pick.
Yeah, I just don't know if the Packers would take that deal, though.
I mean, honestly, if they're pretty sure that he's not going to retire, I don't know why you wouldn't. And then you sweeten it by...
But maybe they think he might retire, which is why...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's still a sticking point there involving protection for New York just in case the Packers, just in case Rodgers only plays a season and then he's done.
Which
So
is definitely possible.
there's that. The other little tidbit football news is Budda Baker, the safety from
Arizona,
has requested a trade. Also, there was Devin White. The Buccaneers came out and said, absolutely, we are not trading Devin White.
I wouldn't mind Budda Baker, though.
No, I would not mind Budda Baker either. I would really like Budda Baker. Well, that would fit our... Yeah, that'd be nice.
It'd be an upgrade pretty much instantly.
Yeah. But we do have that kid that we draft that we never really get to see.
No, that's true. Is he going to be ready, though?
I don't know. That's the thing. But it would be
We know
an update.
they've been saying that he's been healing well and everything, but we don't know if he'll be ready to actually play.
Anyway, so we're going to slide over to MLB news real quick because there was a major thing that happened.
Something fell down, freaked out the bird.
As we talked about last show, I believe they were at 9 wins or 7 wins or something when we last talked.
I think so.
Something like that. Their win streak did come to an end at 13. They are 13-1 last I looked. By the way, the numbers got even dumber. They got even more dumb. Remember how they were at like plus 50 something? Well, they've lost 2 in a row now. Ooh. But at one point in time, they were, when I last looked, they were at plus 71. They're now only at plus 65. 106 runs for, 41 against. I mean, come on.
That's still pretty good. Come on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's still real good.
They're 13-2.
I mean, Hey, they had lightning in a bottle for a second there. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, they're still the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah.
And the thing that fills me with the most joy and pride right now is New York is only 9-6.
Yeah, fair.
The Twins are 10-5,
Mm-hmm.
and they're plus 20.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing so well. Considering everybody else in the Central Division is a minus, I think we're doing pretty good. Cleveland is -1, the White Sox are -19, Detroit is -37, and Kansas City is -27.
Jeez.
Oof. And it's the Twins are 10-5, Cleveland is 9-6, Chicago is 6-9, Detroit is 5-9, and the Morin Bund Kansas City Royals are 4-11. Minnesota's going to run away with that division.
Sounds like it.
As
long as they don't trip and fall.
Which is always possible. It is a Minnesota sports team. There are two divisions that do not yet have double-digit winner. One is in the American and one is in the National, and they are both the West. Both the American League West and the National League West have yet to have a 10-game winner. Texas leads the AL West at 8-6. And Arizona leads. Well, Arizona and the Dodgers are tied atop the NL West at 8-7.
Okie dokie then.
Okie dokie then, Smokey.
Fair
Oh, and by the way, out west, in the NL, the Dodgers are the only team to have a positive run differential. They have plus 19. Arizona is at -7. San Diego is -1. San Francisco is -6, and Colorado is -26.
Gotcha.
In the AL West, only one team has a negative run differential, and they're about as bad negatively as Tampa is positively. And that would be the Oakland Athletics, who sit at -62.
Because why not?
They've got 59 runs for and 121 against.
Tank.
Apparently so. They're 3-12.
Yeah, that's not going well.
Their last 10, they're 1-9.
That's really not going well.
No.
That's quite horrible, actually.
They're tanking hard.
Yeah. Oof.
I don't know for what, but they are.
They want to, man. I don't know.
So,
whew. Alrighty then.
Yeah. All right, let's move into wacky news real quick. So I got two pieces of fun wacky news.
Alrighty.
The first one is Robbie Anderson is no longer Robbie Anderson. Oh, he also got signed by the Dolphins. He has officially changed his name to Chosen.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that, yeah.
He is now Chosen Anderson. I mean, somebody went to the Meta World Peace School of Name Changing.
He's the chosen one. Even though he can't catch the fucking football.
And it's been all decline since his 1,000-yard season with the Jets.
Dude. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. But
boy cannot catch a football to save his goddamn life.
Who knows? Maybe with the name change, he'll suddenly become good again.
Dude, maybe he's just trying to, maybe he thinks he's got some bad juju with that name or some shit, and he had to change it to get rid of the bad juju or some fucking shit. I mean, football players are real superstitious. You never know.
Players are weird, yeah. And then I want to discuss something real quick that has been talked about a lot, but we haven't talked about it yet. But it is starting to get annoying. But we wanted to talk about it anyway, because why the fuck not? First off, what the fuck, Timberwolves? So, for those of you that don't know, the Timberwolves, they did make the playoffs. But for the first play-in game against the Lakers, they were out 2 players. One because he punched the wall and broke his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Bro fought a wall and lost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the other because he punched a teammate in the chest,
Mm-hmm.
on the court, in the huddle,
Mm-hmm.
on TV.
Yep.
That would be Rudy Gobert, who's also the same guy who criticized the refs and said that they wanted to put certain teams in the playoffs. Rudy,
Maybe if you don't punch people, you know.
Maybe don't run off at the mouth like that. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from on that, but maybe don't punch people. Maybe save that for the locker room.
Even then, maybe don't punch them. But you know, if you're gonna do it,
if you're gonna do it, that's the room to do it in.
You might be able to get away with it there, though there are still cameras there, so, you know.
Well, yes, but not at halftime usually.
True.
And there are after the game because they have access to the players. So maybe wait until you're
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Maybe wait until you're on the team bus and then deck him. Or
playing, even.
Or do what Marc-Andre Fleury would do and prank them.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Did you see the newest one?
No.
He made a straw dummy out of the gear of Philip Gustafson and strung it up in the net with Gus's stick.
Oh. Okay.
Like it's literally in the net, like tied in the net.
Just sitting there doing nothing.
Exactly. Dude, Flower is literally the best joke prankster in the NHL. Nobody compares. There's a very good video, if you guys want to find it on YouTube, of him taking Sidney Crosby's gear, all of it, except his jersey, and wrapping tape around all of it and taping all the gear together in one giant ball and hanging it off of the hanger, and then putting the jersey in front of it so until you take it down, you don't realize what's going on.
Oh, man.
The best part was Crosby got there, and he walked in and he saw it and he went, "Oh, Flower got here before me, huh?"
Jeez.
Oh man, the dude, and this was while he was playing for the Wild. He wasn't even playing for Pittsburgh anymore. Still screwing with people. Like,
yeah,
the dude's a jokester. He loves stuff like that.
Yeah, gotta have a good sense of humor, you know.
Oh, he's got a great one, I think. From what I can tell, he's got a great sense of humor.
I'm sure he also makes sure that he targets the people that he knows aren't going to take it.
Yeah, you can't take anything he does seriously enough.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to kind of roll with that and everything else. Any other weird news you can think of?
You know, there wasn't a lot of crazy weird news outside of those, really. Like I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. I mean, there was that one article that I showed you about that one.
Yeah, but that's not weird.
Viking
that's just
kid,
cool.
But that's not weird. That was just weird and cool. But I don't think that's really anything of note.
No, basically what he showed me is there is a kid. I think he's eligible for draft this year.
Yeah.
Who is descended from Ragnar Lothbrok. For those of you who watch Vikings, you know exactly who it is. Viking royalty, essentially. So, and he's a big kid, so.
Oh yeah,
you can definitely see the genes.
Yeah. Just kind of an interesting thing.
I would love for there to be a Viking prince on the Vikings.
Yeah, that would just be funny.
That'd be great.
Just for the sake of the publicity of it, you know.
I'd do it.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. He's got a heck of a can of an arm, so you never know.
All right, so let's move on. Chris and I, because the playoffs for the hockey playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, they have officially begun. Or they're about to. And so
I want to preface before we go over our brackets. For anyone that obviously has been watching our podcast, obviously Matt watches a lot more of the hockey content than I do. I start paying attention towards playoff, so understand that the brackets as I pick them are based off of stats, what I already know, and from what I've heard from Matt during the weeks of our podcast. So I'm kind of going in a little blind, so some of my picks might be like, why do you pick that? And it will honestly going to sometimes just be kind of gut reaction based upon the stats and how I remember you talking about them and my personal thoughts. So,
all right. So we'll start let's start in the West.
Western? Okay.
Let's start in the West. So we have Colorado, Seattle. Colorado is the 1 seed. Seattle is the wild card. So Seattle's going to be on the road against Colorado. So most of the games are going to be played. If it goes 7, they would be in Colorado. And we should point out that Gabriel Landeskog will not be back this season. So the Avalanche will be without their captain for this series. However, that doesn't seem to have bothered them that much so far. The fact that they were basically starting their AHL team at one point this season and they wound up in first in the Central should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
That's fair. So I went a little crazy, and I did pick Seattle to actually win this ultimately. No real reason outside of looking at the teams I went, Colorado is very good, and I know that they're a great team, but Seattle's kind of looking pretty good.
Seattle has been looking good this year.
They're not looking bad, and if there's an upset that I could see here, I could definitely see that being an upset, and that's solely what I did. Plus the underdog story of, Seattle beating Colorado just sounds fun.
It does, and it would be Colorado's first ever playoff series victory. It's their first ever playoff appearance. So yeah. I took that into account and said, while there are a bunch of veterans who have been to the playoffs before, this is the team's first ever playoff appearance.
That's fair.
We don't exactly know how they're going to do in goal. You do have to face off still against Rantanen and McKinnon. And McCarr. Let's not forget about Cale fucking McCarr. And the goaltending in Colorado has been at least good enough to get them here. I've got Colorado in 6.
See, I went Seattle in 7, so I do have it going all.
I have Colorado in 6.
So
the next matchup will be the Dallas Stars, who are the second team in the Central, versus the Wild. If the Wild couldn't play a wild card team, this is the kind of matchup I was looking for the Wild. This, though, is going to be a bit of a slog. Eriksson Ek has finally started skating again. We are going to be without... Oh, which one was it? One of the youngsters got himself hurt. Mason Shaw got hurt. Shaw. He blew his ACL out and will not be back. Ek is skating now, but I don't know if he's going to be available for this round. The Wild did decent without Kaprizov while they had Ek. As soon as Ek went out of the lineup, even with Kaprizov back, they started skidding. And they kind of skidded into a position where they're going to have to play more games on the road than they will at home. That being said, both of the Wild goaltenders, Gustafsson and Marc-Andre Fleury, have been fantastic in the net. Ottinger has been really, really, really good for Dallas. Jason Robertson is a monster for them. I think this is going to be very interesting as a competition to me between Gustafsson and Ottinger, who are two up-and-coming and fantastic young goaltenders, and Kaprizov and Robertson as two great young goal scorers. I think this is a very intriguing matchup. So what do you got?
So I actually do have the Wild taking it in 7 games.
I also have the Wild taking it in 7. I feel like...
I think they have the opportunities to do it. It's going to be close. It's going to be a rough and hard-fought games, but I think that they do have the ultimate gusto to win.
And I also think that because you're not going to be able to start your starting goaltender all of the games, so you're going to have to rely on your backup, and I think Minnesota's backup is better than Dallas's. I also think Minnesota's defensive blue line is a little better than Dallas's, and they're going to go out there and they are going to hit. And they are going to hit, and they are going to grind. I mean, Ryan Reeves is going to put a hurt on someone. And you have, it looks like Faber is going to be a part of the blue line. It looks like they're going to move Klingberg to the left and play Faber on the right as their third line. And the John Klingberg revenge tour, because, he was in Dallas. That was where he was for a long time, and now he's with Minnesota, and... I think he's going to be motivated to play a hell of a game.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I honestly do think the Wild have a shot to take this in 7.
I do, yep.
Next one down, we have the first in the Pacific, which would be the Vegas Golden Knights versus the second wildcard team, the Winnipeg Jets.
Jets. Yep.
This is going to be interesting because the Jets were really good to start the season, skidded hard, and then refound their stroke near the end, and Hellebuck started standing on his head to help steal games.
Yeah, I mean...
So, it really depends which Jets team we see. Vegas has been pretty dominant all season.
They have been, yeah.
Jack Eichel has been fantastic. Their team is very healthy at this point.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As much as I would love to see the Jets win because I think it would be fun narratively, they're just, because of their up and down season, I just don't have any faith in them. I have the Knights taking it in 5.
I have the Knights taking it in 6 because I feel like Hellebuck's going to be good to steal at least one game where they shouldn't win.
Fair enough.
Then the last one in the first round of the West, we have the Edmonton Oilers versus the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings at one point were one of the hottest teams right near the end there, and they actually topped my power rankings at one point because they were playing so well. And then they fell off hardcore. On the other hand, right about the time they started to fall off, Edmonton began to streak. And Edmonton is coming in hot. I mean, super hot. They've got 3 guys over 100 points on the season.
They're
got
basically fucking... They're hitting the Nova point. They're hitting their fucking Nova hot point right at the perfect time, going right into playoffs. Man, if they can carry this, that's going to be tough.
Ekholm has fit in perfectly and changed the dynamic of their defense, which was always suspect. Skinner is playing very well in net. You've got the Hart. Let me see here. What's he going to win? The Hart, the Ross, and the Rocket outright. He might take the Lindsay home. And he probably, if depending on how far the Oilers go, he could also take home the Conn Smythe. So, and that would be Connor McJesus.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I think he is going to drag this team along with... You have a healthy Draisaitl this year, too, and RNH has finally found his game. Plus, you got back the guy that got injured earlier this season. I can't remember his name off the top of my head because I'm an idiot. So...
Fair.
Sorry.
That's fair.
But yeah. How do you see it?
You know, like I already said, the Oilers are hitting their supernova right at the perfect point. The Kings have already fallen off pretty hard. Could they still kind of make that resurgence? Sure. I don't see it happening, though. I have the Oilers taking it in 5.
I also have the Oilers in 5. I think LA could take one game from them, but I think the Oilers are just going to shoot them out of the building.
Yeah. Do we want to keep going through the full Western, or do we want to just do this side
let's move
bracket?
over to the East now. Let's go. Let's do first round and first round.
Okay.
And then
That's
we'll
what
do
I think. Yeah.
That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
We've got this so well planned.
Oh, so well planned.
So the first game over in the East, Boston, who's been on an absolute crushing roll. They've had that spot sewn up for a month and a half now.
Pretty much.
Versus the Florida Panthers, who snuck in under the wire to make the playoffs.
Boston in 5. I'm not even gonna waste my time. I'm not even gonna waste time. It's Boston in 5.
I actually have Boston in 7, just because the Panthers.
Really?
The Panthers at the end of the season here.
Okay.
Matthew Tkachuk has been playing well. They've been getting saves from odd places. They've been getting points from more people. Like, the team is finally starting to gel here at the end of the season. They were the team that nobody wanted to play. That being said, Boston is a fucking wagon. They're coming in completely healthy outside of maybe Bergeron, and I still don't think that's a huge thing to miss. They're going to separate heads from bodies. I do think that Florida's going to make a series out of it, but Boston's going to ultimately walk away from that one.
I think you're giving the Panthers a little bit more credit, but fair. I mean, I could understand maybe 6, 7. I think you're pushing it, but that's fair. I get it. Don't agree, but I get it. But yeah, Boston definitely
Toronto.
wins
The
it.
next one is going to be Toronto, second in the Atlantic, versus Tampa Bay, third in the
Hmm.
Atlantic. If
This
this
is a
were
toss up for me, man. This is a real big
this
toss up for me.
really is, and part of the reason is because Toronto actually changed a huge complexion of their team so that
Hmm.
they would be more playoff ready, because they
Yeah,
always get beat up in the playoffs. They always
exactly.
somebody always out physicals them.
Yep.
So they went out and they got a bunch of guys that can be more physical. Ryan O'Reilly, and then Nola Chari for the bottom six, and
Hmm.
Sam Lafferty, and you picked up all of these defensive, Jake McCabe and Luke Shen, and you finally have this team that looks like, and you've got Samsonov, who looks like he could absolutely steal games for you.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, what else do you say about this at this point? It is still a toss up. I will say Toronto came in looking good, and
They did,
Tampa's been
yes.
on kind of a downward trend for quite some time now in terms of they just haven't looked like Tampa.
That's true. I'll give you that. They haven't looked like the Tampa you'd expect in playoffs from previous years for sure. But it's still Tampa, right? So you can never quite count them out.
No, but
I get it. I'm just saying. You always got to be wary. It's Tampa.
mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I legitimately believe that this is dang near a 50-50 coin flip. It's real close in my opinion. It's a it, if there's a slight edge, it's a very slight edge one way or the other. I ultimately decided to go with Toronto in 7. I think it's going to be just that much of a bang bang, just constantly back and forth. That's just kind of how I see it.
Considering that Toronto pushed them to 7 games last year, and Tampa was a much better team, in my opinion, last season,
That's fair.
and Toronto looks like a much improved team from last season, I do give an edge to Toronto, but I still say it goes 7 games, and Toronto will take that series. Congratulations, Leafs fans. We're both picking you to finally win a series.
Woo!
Be
Well
excited.
done.
Um, Next, over in the Metro, you've got Carolina, who won the Metro, versus the first wildcard team, which is the New York Islanders.
Hmm. This is
Um,
another game that I thought was actually kind of fun, but in a different way, right?
so Carolina, people are saying Carolina is going to outshoot you. I don't think so. Carolina isn't an
No,
offensive team. Carolina is a
like
defensive
they could,
nightmare.
but I don't think they will.
No,
Yeah.
Carolina is a defensive nightmare. But they're probably going to outshoot the Islanders.
Yes.
Because the Islanders don't do a lot of offense. This is a
No.
defense on defense matchup, and it's a matchup of goalies with Frederick
Yeah.
Anderson and Simeon Varlamov.
Yep.
Is that who's in net? Or what's the guy's name? Ilya is it
Um,
Sorokin? It's Sorokin. Ilya Sorokin. I'm
doesn't
an
say
idiot.
on mine. I can't pull it up right now.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
Sorokin.
Okay.
So Anderson versus Sorokin. Sorokin is a perennial friggin'. He's going to be a perennial contender for the Vesna every year. I don't know what else to say about that, man.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be a fun, like I said, gonna be a fun matchup, but in a weird way. Um, I mean, listen, I feel for the Islanders. Like every time, I always kind of want them to win because it's just like, oh man, it's the Islanders though. It's
yeah,
been you kind of feel slightly bad for the Islanders just a little bit once in a while, right? Like just a little bit. But at the same time, then you're like, but it's New York, and it's a weird duality. Either way, I do have Carolina taking it in 6. Ultimately, I think Islanders will sneak out a couple games just because of that. I think their defense is that good to hold out, and I think they might just get lucky a couple games. But I do think Carolina will take it.
just due to how Carolina was playing at the end of the season and how their offense looked anemic, I went the other way and I said the Islanders in 6.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I'm going to do the upset on this one. And
Interesting.
it simply comes down to where is the offense going to come from for Carolina? Because you're going to have to beat him somehow.
True.
You're not going to be able to let Sorokin just sit there. You're gonna have to beat Sorokin. You're gonna have to, you're gonna mess up, and the Islanders are gonna jump on it. I really don't know which way it's gonna go, but I just feel like the Islanders have got the gumption to make this work.
Great.
And then the last game in the first round over in the East is going to be the second team in the Metro, the New Jersey Devils, versus the third team in the Metro, the New York Rangers. The Devils have been decent or pretty good all year, a lot better than most people expected. They've had a very quick turnaround this season. They've been out of the playoffs for a long time, and they didn't even come close to making playoffs last year. And then this year, they've been one of the best teams in hockey. So Jack Hughes has set a new franchise record for points in a season. They've gotten some good goaltending. They've gotten good play out of key pieces. And they traded for Timo Meier at the deadline to try to make this all work. You okay?
Yeah, just scratching my back.
Okay. And they absolutely, I think they absolutely went with that. The Rangers also went for it. They traded for Patrick Kane. They traded for Tarasenko. They have Igor Shesterkin in net. Man, this is another one of those series that I feel is going to be a back and forth battle. There's just so much firepower with Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad on the Rangers and Jack Hughes and those guys over on the Devils and Meyer. I don't know who's going to come out on top of this one, to be honest. This feels like more of a coin flip to me than the Toronto-Tampa game does.
Okay. Interesting that you'd say that, because I actually have the Devils taking it in 6. I just don't really have much faith in the Rangers, to be honest. But
I have the Rangers taking it in 7.
okay, very interesting. I guess the last our last 2 games here we've been mostly agreeing, and these last 2 games have been very different.
Yeah, we have very different takes on these, apparently.
Yeah.
Moving back over to the West now. Round 2 in the West. My round 2 was Colorado, Minnesota. Yours is Seattle and Minnesota. How do you see it?
So the thing is, just like you actually pointed out with Seattle being that they are a new team to playoffs, I did see them ended up winning against Colorado due to just kind of having that kind of lucky first big playoff game. I just see them having like a big, I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that they're gonna have a weird, just somehow magical game there. But I do not think that's gonna carry over into their second game. I think we will grind out a win against Seattle. I think Minnesota
grind out a playoff series against them.
Yep.
Okay, and then you would have, because I think we both agreed that it was going to be Vegas and Edmonton. So Vegas versus Edmonton. That's going to be a fun one.
Wait, who was yours? Did you said yours was Colorado?
Colorado and Minnesota. I took Colorado over Minnesota.
Okay.
It's Colorado.
Yeah.
Minnesota's going to drag that to probably 7 games. But in the end, I still think Colorado is going to beat them.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah. Now we have the Vegas. We both had Vegas Knights and Edmonton Oilers in this next spot. So I actually think that the Oilers are going to continue their hot streak, and I think they actually will beat the Knights.
I agree with you, actually, 100%. I have Edmonton. Right. I have Edmonton moving on into the Western Conference Finals to face Colorado. You have them moving to meet Minnesota.
Now, do we want to finish this side or go back over again?
Let's go back over again.
Okay.
So, Eastern Conference semifinals. I have Toronto and Boston. You also have Toronto and Boston.
Now, as much as I want to put Toronto here to win, and I'm pretty sure this is where you have Toronto beating Boston, I have Boston beating Toronto. And it's going to be a grind.
But I do have Toronto beating Boston in 7.
Yeah, it is going to go 7 as well, but I think it's going to end up Boston's way out mine.
And that's really going to depend on, to me, depends on Bergeron. It depends on how both teams emerge from the first round, any injuries that could happen. This is another one of those series that could be toss-ups, but I think Toronto fans finally get their moment of joy and knock Boston off their perch, and bye-bye Boston.
I would love to see it. I just don't think it'll happen.
All right.
All right.
You have Carolina and New Jersey.
I do. Now, out of those two, I ended up actually picking Jersey to actually end up beating Carolina there. Like you were saying, I think Carolina relies on their defense so hard that, if they don't have enough offense, they'll barely squeak in to end up beating the Rangers, but beating the Devils, the Devils are just going to end up just being constantly offensive all over Carolina. Eventually, Carolina's going to break.
Whereas I have the Rangers and the Islanders, and I have the Rangers taking it from the Islanders. I have an all New York thing there. So my two Eastern Conference final teams are Toronto and New York, and yours are Boston and New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So, Western Conference finals, we both have Edmonton. I have Colorado, you have Minnesota. How do you see it?
Listen, as much as I love Minnesota, I could not justify them being able to beat the Oilers. Well, I think that it'll be a good fight. I just think that the Oilers are just going to ultimately end up outscoring Minnesota. It'll be a scoring game, but it's going to end up with the
Brodin and
Oilers
the
ahead.
defense have always played Connor McDavid pretty well. But I still think that there's too much here. There's too much. The Oilers, I have the Oilers beating Colorado. I think that goes like 6 games probably. The Oilers,
I'm thinking 6 or 7.
The Oilers are just on fire right now. I have them advancing and representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My Eastern Conference finals. Yours first, because you have Boston and New Jersey.
Yep, I have Boston, New Jersey, and ultimately, I again ended up with Boston over New Jersey. I just think Boston's a more ruthlessly aggressive team that's just going to continue carrying that all the way through playoffs, and they're just going to beat up their opponent to death. Basically, I just don't see too many teams being able to stop that aggressive.
And I have Toronto and New York, and Toronto has gotten the monkey off their back playing Boston. I think they continue on. I think they play with elation. I think that this retooled team takes it into the finals, and we're going to have an all-Canada final with the Oilers and the Maple Laughs.
You're giving them the miracle season, man. Don't give them hope. You're giving them hope.
No, I'm not, because I'm going to snatch it away here in the finals.
Oof. Yeah, that's fair. So am I. Yeah, all right. Finals, I have obviously the Oilers versus Boston. I did the unspeakable thing that I hate the most, is I ended up picking Boston. I just don't, man. The way they play, man, it's just so hard to go against Boston. Now, granted, I think if the team is gonna win it, it's gonna be the Oilers. It's gonna go all the full distance. All games are gonna get played. But and Oilers could end up taking it at the end, but I think Boston just ends up squeaking it out.
Whereas I have Edmonton versus Toronto, I have Edmonton beating Toronto in like 5 games.
That sounds about right, actually.
It's going to be It's going to be the Connor McDavid show, and at the end of the day, Connor McDavid not only hoists all the hardware, he hoists the Conn Smythe, and he's the first guy to pick up the cup, and he's going to hand it off to Draisaitl, who'll probably hand it off to RNH, who will hand it off to, whoever.
You already got this fantasized in your head.
I've already got this fantasized out in my head. You finally get that ring for Connor McDavid so that everybody can understand that he's going to be a Hall of Famer and everything else. It's Connor McDavid. And now he's got to compete with another. And then you move on to the draft, and there's another Connor coming in who probably goes to the Montreal Canadiens. So
that's true.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's true.
All right. He could go to the Sharks, though, and be in the same division with Connor, so you could have Connor versus Connor.
That'd be
fun, though.
True. That is true.
You could also go to Anaheim. That would still put him, I believe, in the same division.
All right. So, obviously, follow along and go ahead and if you end up doing your own brackets, go ahead and share those brackets down below.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think.
If you think
is Chris more right that Boston's going all the way, or are they going to fall short because they haven't really been tested all season?
True, that's possible. Obviously follow along. We'll continue posting you every week, just let you know how we're all doing.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably both be incredibly wrong, knowing how
Knowing
these
us,
things
we're
go.
probably gonna get all the picks wrong.
Either that, or we're gonna get half of them right and half of them wrong. Like we'll get one league completely right, and the other side just completely fucked.
Oh yeah, we're gonna completely bone one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you want to move on to fun trivia time?
Sure, quiz me, daddy.
Oh, could never say that again. All right, we're doing a fun little quiz. Obviously, being that our sister could not join us, I decided for the moment I'd come up with a fun little quiz again for my brother. I decided to take things a little bit more um, in my own hands. I came up with my own quiz. Um, I guess it's not a new idea or a new concept because I stole it.
From
It's a
somewhere.
similar idea. What I stole it from you basically. You had a similar idea, but I flipped it. So what we're gonna do is I am going to have you name the top 10 teams that have, well, the top, I guess I should say teams, top 10 cities that have the most championships, sports championships in the U.S. And then I'm going to have you name how many championships you think they have
Oh Jesus.
and which which league they have the most in, the most most points in, I guess I should say.
Gotcha.
The most
Gotcha.
championships in. Just for, and if that doesn't work out, I guess I can always give you hints if you need to as we go, and we can adjust the rules as we go.
Yeah.
So just so you understand how this works for how the teams are given their championships in the American Football Championships, this includes Super Bowl championships as well as pre-Super Bowl area championships like the National Football League, All American Football Conference, and American Football League. Includes also the CFL is considered as part of this because there are actually some teams in the U.S. that did compete in the CFL and win championships. So those are included in this as well. Uh, as far as baseball, it is the championships that include the World Series, obviously. So it's just going to be a regular World Series, nothing else there. Basketball includes NBA Final Championships and the American Basketball Association Championships. As far as hockey, it will include the Stanley Cup Championships and the World Hockey Association Championships. And for soccer, it'll include the North American Soccer League Championships and as well as the current MLS Championships.
Why are you even bothering with soccer? We don't even talk about
They're,
that shit. I don't
yeah,
follow soccer.
They're still included.
Fuck you.
Don't worry. They hardly add much, to be fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they do.
They don't really add much.
I would still say the
like,
cities that I'm thinking of are probably the cities that have the most wins anyway. Yeah.
probably. And anyways, as far as the CFL is concerned too, it's like the same thing where there's only a couple teams that actually have CFL championships. And to be completely honest with you, all of the teams that are in the top 10 don't even have CFL championships, so it doesn't matter.
I wouldn't imagine they do.
There's only one team that has a CFL championship, and I'll give you that as a fun little bonus later, because I think that's actually kind of entertaining. Anyways, so let's start. Do you want to start from 10 going up, or do you want to start?
I'm just
going
to start guessing cities.
Well, let's. I want to start from a way that I can follow going down. So what I'm going to do?
There's no way I'm going to be able to tell you precisely.
No. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. To make this more interesting, I'm going to tell you I'm not going to give you the city. I'll give you the number of championships. So I'm going to go from the first rank.
That's
this
not
city
help.
has. No, watch. Hold on. Give me a second, all right? We're going to start at rank 1. So rank 1 is the very first number 1 team, or number 1 city. They have 65 championships. What's the city?
New York.
All right. Now, what sport do they have the most championships in?
Baseball.
How many do you think they have? If you were to guess. This is just a random bonus. This is just for funsies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, because the Rangers have won a couple. Total, right? Not just their baseball team?
So you know they have 65 total championships. How many in baseball do you believe they have?
Okay, baseball. The Yankees have a ridiculous amount. I want to say it's 20-something. 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets have 3? So I'm going to go with 29.
You're not far off, actually. That's really close. Actually, it's 35. So that's pretty.
I know the
Hey,
Yankees
that's
had
pretty
a
good.
fuckload.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the format we're gonna do it in, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna start descending down from here.
That
See,
works.
this is what I'm saying. This is a good hint system. I
Okay.
think this will work better.
That works.
Now for the funsies, New York, where their other championships are coming from, they have 4 NBA/ABA championships,
Yeah,
9
the
NFL
Knickerbockers back
championships.
before the NBA. And then
Yep,
they have
9.
9 for the Rangers, right? Rangers Islanders?
Oh, no, I was gonna say 9 in the NFL. So 9 in the NFL,
Yep.
AFL, AAFC. They have 11 in the NHL, WHA, and then they actually have 6 soccer championships. Surprisingly enough, I guess it is on the coast, so I guess it somewhat makes sense. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second city, who has the most championships. We have them at 40. They have 40 championships. What team has 40 world championships?
Boston.
Ah, there you go. Now, this is gonna be the interesting one. Which sport do you believe they have the majority of those?
I'm gonna go with football, but there's a part of me that also wanted to say basketball. Because I know they were really good in basketball for a long time.
You should have gone with your second cut. It was basketball. It was
By
17.
like 1 or 2, right?
No, by a lot.
Really? Oh, right,
Yeah.
because we're all including the old ABA stuff. Then, yeah, basketball,
Mhm.
they've got like 15 or something.
17.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Yep,
if you
you're
include
close.
the old ABA stuff. Because they won
Yep.
several with Bird in that group, and then they had
Yep.
Red Auerbach before that, and yeah, dude. They've won a fuck. The Celtics have won a
I
fuckload.
know. They really have a lot. They have also won 10 MLB championships, 6 in the NFL, 7 NHL, and 0 soccer. Because,
Yeah.
no. All right, moving on to rank number 3. This city has 33 major sports championships. What team is it?
See, I'm going to go based on size on this one because I don't know.
That's gonna be pretty accurate.
I don't
to be
know.
fair.
I don't know how much in terms of where, but I do know that one of the teams there has won a fuckload, and that would be Los Angeles.
That is correct. Los Angeles is number 3. And which sport do you believe they have the majority
Basketball.
of those championships? You are correct. It is
The
basketball.
fucking Lakers, man.
How many do you believe that they have there, though?
Oh, Jesus Christ. How many did you say they had total?
They have 33 total.
27.
Oof! Wow, you are overshooting. 12.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right? I was surprised by that too. It's 12. They
See,
have
because I thought
7.
most, because I know the Angels haven't. Well, I think
Here-
the Angels have. Oh, I forgot about the Dodgers, though.
Things are going to get interesting. I was going to say they have 7 in the MLB.
Dodgers.
They have 3 in the NFL. They have 3 in the NHL, but they have 8 in soccer. Because of course it is. It's fucking LA.
It's LA. The LA Galaxy.
All right. Exactly. All right, we're
Probably
going
the
on
only MLB, probably the only major MLS team I could name.
to just the Minnesota Loons.
I also know there's one that's, I don't know where they play, but I know there's one named the Revolution.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, all right, moving on to the 4th city, which has 32 major sports championships, so they are only actually off by 1.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Chicago.
Another good guess, man. I figured that these earlier ones you'd get better at. I think the later
Well,
ones can have
because I was
tougher
trying
time
to
with.
think of all the stuff, and I know they have 2 MLB teams. They have a football team that won one Super Bowl, as far as I know, but I think they had several earlier titles pre-Super Bowl. And then they had the Jordan era Bulls.
Mhm.
And they had the Cubs and the White Sox, and the Cubs back before the curse of the Billy Goat and the curse of Bartman were fucking phenomenal.
So, which sport do you think they have the most?
I'm actually going to go with
there?
baseball.
You're going to go baseball. Unfortunately, that's incorrect. It would be the NFL. Their footballs. They actually have the most in football. Specifically, mostly actually before the NFL. They actually,
Before
like
the
you were
NFL.
saying, they actually got a lot before that.
Probably
how
even
many
before
do
the
you think?
Bears, back when they were the Chicago Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. So, with that in knowledge, how many do you think they have in that, though?
Oh, like 7.
You're actually not far off. So, as far as Chicago is, they're actually one of the few that here that when they have a lot, they're actually pretty evenly spread. So, when it comes to their football, they have 11 championships. For baseball, they have 6. For basketball, they have 6. For the NHL, they have 6. For soccer,
Oh,
they
I
have
almost
3.
forgot about the Blackhawks too. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're pretty evenly split actually. They're one of the few teams that actually has a pretty even split across all their sports teams. So it's pretty
Alright.
impressive actually. All right, moving on to the 5th city, which has actually a pretty decent dip in comparison to championships. We're going from the 30s into the 20s with 23 championships. What city has 23 championships?
I'm moving through.
Nah,
You
I
can see
figured,
my
yeah.
brain moving through geographic locations.
Well, yeah, it's fair because like again we're ranking for cities. It's obvious that you want to hit the bigger cities first because those are the ones that obviously are more likely to have, yeah, especially cities that
that
are
is
older that have
very
been around
true.
longer.
But it's the
So
idea of how much have they won? Because
mhm.
like I know there are some cities that have the problem is who's older teams and who's younger teams.
That too,
The
I was gonna say,
cities
yeah,
with the much older teams have a chance of having
yeah,
a much higher
AKA New
threshold.
York.
Well, yeah, and like original 6 teams and stuff like that.
Hmm. That's what I was gonna
Um,
say. Yeah,
are there Canadian cities or are these just American cities?
this is all. Let me double check. I think they're all American cities.
I had to ask because Montreal won a fuckload back in the
Yes, this is
day.
this is all U.S. cities, so they're only
Okay,
U.S. cities.
okay, because Montreal won a fuckload back in the day.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, ooh, they didn't win one for a long time. Arrgh. I have a feeling I'm going to be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that. But Pittsburgh?
Incorrect. If you want to hit, I'll let you keep going. If you want to hit, just let me know.
Well, I was thinking Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia.
It's none of those.
Ah, interesting. Because I went to Florida, but all of the teams there are super young.
That's true.
Except for the Dolphins. But the Dolphins only won a couple. Like the Heat are a very young team. I know they've got a couple of wins. The Marlins have never won shit.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, if you want a hint, just let me know.
What coast are they on?
West Coast.
The only other West Coast city I can... Well... I don't know how many teams have played there, though. So the only thing I can think of is Oakland.
There's one big one you're missing, man.
It's not Frisco. Frisco fucking... They don't have a basketball team. I mean, they've got a baseball team.
Okay, so... This one's a little cheeky, but I think it still counts. It is Frisco. It's the San Francisco Bay Area, but it's San Fran. Yeah. I know. It seems a little cheeky, but mostly, actually, the reason why I said it is because the two... without giving it away, I mean, there's... Most of the championships come from...
The Niners. Football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though, to be fair, they're actually tied with 7 also being from their baseball. So I guess baseball, there must be a baseball team in the area.
San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. And then they got 6 in basketball.
Who did they even have in basketball?
Apparently they had somebody in basketball. Let me look it up real quick. San Francisco Bay Area. Doo-doo-doo. Golden State Warriors.
Win. Because they were in Oakland forever. They were founded there.
Yeah.
In
75.
Yeah. They're in Oakland
relocating. Yeah, in basketball, the Warriors play and have won 7 NBA Finals, 5 since relocating to the Bay Area in 1975, 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022. And they relocated from Philly in 1962. There you go. So there you go. There's your answer. Satisfactory?
Sort of.
Satisfactory enough, anyways? All right.
Yeah,
Moving on.
They currently play in San Francisco. I thought they were in Oakland.
No, they're in San Francisco. Yeah, they moved from Philly.
Oh. For some reason, I thought they were more of an Oakland team.
Apparently not.
They were.
Oh, were they at one point?
They have been located in the San Francisco Bay Area since 1962, and they play their home games at Oakland Arena in Oakland from 1971 to 2019.
Well, they play there, but they're located in the Bay Area, so it's a weird. Yeah. It depends on how you take it. That's why I said they're listing in this as the San Francisco Bay Area, and so I assume they're including Oakland in that, because in fact Oakland I don't think has its own. No, Oakland does have it. No, it doesn't. Oakland doesn't have its own thing on here, so they must have included that together. Whatever. Get fucked, Oakland. You're just part of San Francisco now.
Anybody from Oakland would fucking beat the shit out of you for that.
Hey, hey, this is coming from Wikipedia. I didn't make Wikipedia.
Yeah, fuck Wikipedia.
All right, let's move on to
That's why I said
Oakland,
city. By the way.
That's fair. I know. We're going to move on to the 6th city regardless. I don't want to get beat up right now. 6th city has 22 major sports championships. What city is at 6?
See, I'm leaning back East Coast again.
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Nope,
Okay.
it's not Pittsburgh. Um, if you want any hints, let me know.
I'm going to be honest. I stopped caring last question. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just, at this point, I have no idea. Because the teams that I know that have won the most, you're including way, way, way more than I have knowledge of. Thus, it's silly to me. The premise is you're testing more than I have knowledge of, because I never paid attention to anything before. How many championships did they win before this was a thing? I,
It's for the funsies of it, but if you don't
I
want to
no,
have,
I understand it's for the funsies of it. I'm not trying to put a damper
you're
on it.
poo pooing on it. Yeah, you are.
I am a little, and I'm sorry.
You are.
I'm just like I have no idea. So I like at this
That's
point.
what the fun of it is. It's kind of just guessing based upon the knowledge you have, and then taking into account
So
based upon
my
what
other
you've heard in the
knowledges
past.
are I know San Antonio's had a team for a while, and I know prior to the NBA, the Spurs were a major force in the precursor. What was the ABA? And I think they had several titles there. But I know there's not much else in San Antonio. I think they have a soccer team.
It's actually not a bad guess, but
I think because
yeah,
the other part of me wants to say it could be a Texas team because Dallas has a shitload too.
go north. Go north. You're too far south.
Am I too far south?
You're way too far south. Go north. Go way north.
Well, Minnesota doesn't have shit.
You
Well,
share a division with them.
there's not shit in Green Bay except the Packers. Oh, Detroit.
There you go.
Detroit.
Say, there
I
was one
gonna
big
say,
city you were missing.
I got to thinking about it. I was like, hold on, Detroit. Because prior to the Super Bowl era, the Detroit Lions won a fuckload of fucking shit.
They did, but there's one team you're forgetting that actually earned them a lot of their championships.
The Red Wings. Yeah,
It's their hockey team.
yeah. I was gonna say the Red Wings were, I think they're an original 6 team too. So yeah, I had totally forgotten for a minute that the Detroit had a fucking old ass hockey team.
Yeah.
That had the chance to pull up all of these fucking records too. Yeah, no, it's
See,
Detroit.
and this is what I was saying. Like I'm telling you, you have the knowledge. You
I
just
just
gotta,
need
you
to
just
apply
gotta dig
it
it up.
better.
like put it this way: so they have 22 championships. Out of the 22, 11 of them are from their hockey
from the
team.
Red Wings. Yeah, I know the Pistons have got a couple. They've got what, like
They got
at least one, probably 2 or 3 from the Pistons.
Yep, 3 total.
3 total from the Pistons. Then they've got. I don't think the Tigers have.
They got 4 in the
Really?
baseball.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the
Must have been
Lions.
pretty early on.
The Lions prior to the Super Bowl era probably have like 7,
4 actually.
4. I knew they were good though. That was the
Yeah, they
funny
were, and
part.
they were. I think they were in like 7 or 8 championships. but
Yeah,
I think
they were
won the 4th.
good prior to the Super Bowl era, and then they just kind of.
Yep.
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 The less said about that, the better.
Pretty much. All right. Again, we're moving on. Again, these are all big cities. I think you can easily do this with enough just
Yeah,
thinking about it.
got it.
Moving on to the 7th city, 19 championships. It is an older city, so definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
city
yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely been around.
Are they in the north or the south?
More north.
More north.
Yeah, I would say they're more northern.
Which sport have they won most of them in?
Baseball, but it's not by a big margin.
Now I've got to think of teams that have won multiple World Series victories
It's true.
that are slightly northern teams. It sounds like they could be Middle America.
A little bit. I mean, they're definitely, like when you think of them, they're definitely more northern. But they're like not like way north either. It's hard to. I mean,
I understand entirely. All right. They've never won one. They have won one. They haven't. Yeah, but they're not north. Mm. Are they on a coast? Or are they more inland?
I'm gonna double check that just to make sure I get this absolutely correct because I don't want to be stupid. Um, they're more inland, but the the city's inland, but they're like right near a coast. If that helps.
A little. No, I don't think I'm right on that, but a part of me wants to say St. Louis. Because I know the Cardinals have won a fuck ton. And I know the Blues have a championship. The Rams never won one while they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was baseball, yeah, I want to say St. Louis.
They're not. They're on the list, but they're not here.
Okay.
I think older city so old school. We're still on the East Coast.
Are we thinking Philadelphia then?
There we go.
That
We're
was
at
the
Philly.
other one that was coming to mind, but I didn't
Yeah.
know how many the Phillies had won.
Yeah. So I apparently they got 7 baseball championships. So that's the most
I
they have.
know I didn't know how many they had. I knew
Yep.
the Flyers had at least 2.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know if the 76ers won stuff back in the old ABA days. I think they did.
Yeah, they got 4.
And I think they might have some NBA titles too.
Yeah, they got 4 NBA titles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's 4
Basketball
total in
titles.
basketball. And then they got 5 in football.
Yeah.
Which,
The Eagles?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I know they've got one that's an actual Super Bowl win.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they got one that's an actual Super Bowl win. I know they've won stuff before the Super Bowl
Yeah.
as well in the.
I didn't
other
know if they
conferences.
were a pre-Super Bowl era team or not. That was the problem.
Yeah, they were.
Like,
Yeah.
I know the Steelers have been around for fucking ever. That's
They
why I
have
guessed
been.
Pittsburgh, is because I know they've won a lot of hockey
They've been
championships.
forever around.
And
yeah.
they've won a lot of fucking. I know they don't have a basketball team, but I know that their hockey team and their football team have done a lot of winning.
Right. Yep.
So there was that.
All right.
Too.
So moving on to the 8th team, which has 17 major sports championships. Who do you think this one is?
I'm going to stay in the same state, and I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
You'd be correct. It is Pittsburgh. It is Pittsburgh, only by 2 less. Now, this will be the interesting one. Which sport do you think they actually have the most in? It's very close. It's only by 1. I'll give you that.
I know. I'm gonna say the NFL because I think
Yeah,
they
it
have
is, yeah.
one more. I think they have 6, and I think the Penguins have
Yep.
5.
You are correct. And they also have 5 in baseball, surprisingly enough.
Yeah,
And
that
they
would play back
actually-
in the old days when the Pirates were actually good.
Good, yeah. And surprisingly, apparently they did have a baseball team or a basketball team at one point because they do have one.
Must have been like an ABA team that folded.
Probably the APA team from way long ago. All right, moving on to the 9th city, which has 14 major sports championships. Who do you think this one is? And the hint I'm going to give you will hopefully just make this a lot easier.
I was going to say
I don't know if it will. Oh, go ahead.
St. Louis.
Yeah, it's St. Louis.
I knew they were coming up too.
Which sport is it?
Baseball. It's going to be baseball.
How many do you think they have?
How many did you say they totally had?
14.
12.
You're not far off. It's 11. Out of the 14, 11 are the
I know the
baseball.
Blues have 1 Stanley Cup victory.
Yep.
And I was trying to think of the other team that's there. The Rams and...
The Rams got one. Yep.
Not when they were in St. Louis.
Apparently they did at one point. Either that or they had another team there at some
They
point
must have had another team there
that did win one before
Yeah.
the NFL.
prior to the NFL, yeah. Because the Rams were in LA for most of their major wins. They were only in St.
that I
Louis
do
for
know.
a few years.
Yeah, that's true. And then apparently they actually had one championship in basketball as well. Didn't know that one. All right, so now for the 10th place one. This one is actually a 3-way tie. All 3 cities have 13 wins. I'm not going to force you to name all 3 unless you want to. If you just name one of them, I'll be happy.
Well, let me see here. Houston. No?
Close.
Dallas?
Close,
I
but
know
no.
Dallas should be on that list.
Actually, they're not.
Wow.
I know.
Jerry Jones has to be mad.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll continue down the list afterwards. For some of the interesting teams.
Is it San Antonio?
It's not.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
These ones are kind of interesting, actually.
okay. Well, none of the Texas teams then.
Surprisingly, not. No. They're close, but they just didn't quite make it.
All right. Where do they play? No.
I will say one of them that's in here is a faker. I hate them.
What?
Fakers. A faker.
Okay.
You'll understand when I get to it, unless you guess it. It's one that I don't feel deserves to be this high up. Put it that way.
Is Tampa there? I wouldn't think Tampa would be there.
No, they're further down the list.
Yeah.
If you want hints on any of them, I can give you
I
some.
don't
But
think Miami would be on that list.
nope, they're also further down.
Yeah.
I'll say. mm, Most of these are inland.
Okay. DC?
DC is one of them, correct? This is the one that I said is a faker, actually, though,
Because they're not
because
really a city. They're
well, there's that, and on top of that, like, okay, they have 5 in the NFL. Okay, so they have 5 championships
yeah.
football wise. They get 2 baseball,
Mm-hmm.
1 basketball,
Mm-hmm.
1 hockey, and
Mm-hmm.
4 soccer. If they didn't have those 4 soccer, they would be in this top 10. That's why I'm calling
But
them
I was like,
fakers.
I was thinking about it. I was like, because I know the Washington Senators have won at least one World Series, and I think they won one before
Yeah,
they moved away and became the Expos.
I believe so.
I know that they've won a Stanley Cup as the Senator, or I believe it was Capitals, with Alex Ovechkin. Um, I knew. I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, there's enough there. There was the Washington Wizards, and they were the
Yep.
Bullets for a while, and
Yep. Yep.
yep.
They've had a lot of sports teams coming in and out of them.
And I
Yeah.
knew that the Commanders, Redskins, whatever, had won several way back in the day.
Yeah, way
That
back before
yeah,
the even NFL was. Yeah.
Joe Theismann and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
John Riggins.
hmm
Yeah.
Do you feel like trying to guess the other two, or do you want me to just tell you?
Well, let me see here. The other two then are going to be more inland cities because
I would
that's
say
going to be your
they would
coast.
be more
That's going to be
inland.
your coast city right there. Is DC.
And even then, DC's not like really that coast. I mean, it's kind of is.
It's
But
kind of coast.
yeah. I mean, with this, I don't think this one would be considered coastal. Let me just make sure that this isn't considered coastal. I don't think it is, but no. Yeah, that's definitely more inland. So yeah, they're definitely both more inland.
If I count that, I've already said them.
I guess.
Jeez Louise. What sports? What are the major winners on them?
So one of them. Hold on. Helps if I. One of them's football. Give me 1 second. And the other one. Oh, they're both football. I didn't know that. I was looking at something else, so I had to pull it back up.
Ah.
So they're both good in football.
Yeah, I know. That's not gonna come to me. I'm probably gonna smack myself when I hear it.
One of them has one of the oldest football teams, and you should know it. You absolutely should. We share their division, bro.
Oh, well, then that would be Green Bay. I wasn't sure if they were gonna meld Green Bay and Milwaukee together.
No, it's only Green Bay, but their teams their Green Bay's
Even
been around
prior
for
to the
so
Super Bowl era, yeah.
long. Yeah, and they've been winning for so
I
long.
wanted to say that, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I just don't know if they've
Yeah.
had enough. But yeah, prior to
Actually,
the Super Bowl era, they also had a fuckload.
this is one of the few teams that has all of them in football.
Everything
All
is in
13
football,
championships
yeah.
in football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next one's actually Cleveland.
Ah,
And
the
they're
old
in
Browns
football before.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
They were big before the NFL. Once they joined the NFL, they would.
Yeah. No, yep, Paul Brown.
Yeah, they won 10
Yeah.
championships
Yeah.
in football. It's crazy.
Yeah.
2 in baseball, and 1 in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So funnily enough, some of the other places that are kind of interesting is that Minneapolis dash St. Paul, because they include them together, the Twin Cities. We said actually a rank of 17. We're about like midway through this list. Um, and the majority of our wins, guess what, come from
Baseball.
basketball.
Really?
5 in basketball prior to, yeah.
Oh, that would be back when.
Mhm.
So, a little bit of trivia because you may not know.
Probably don't.
We had a basketball team prior to the Timberwolves.
Okay.
They moved very early in, like even before I was born.
Oh, okay.
So, have you ever found it weird that there's a team in California that's named after something you don't find a lot of in California? And yet they're synonymous with that state.
Which one would it be? There's one. This must be one that I'm not thinking of.
Nope, there should be one that immediately comes to mind when you say California basketball teams. They're the winningest California basketball team.
Oh, you talking about the Lakers?
How many lakes are in California?
I guess I never really thought about that.
They were the Minneapolis Lakers.
Hmm.
That's where they started.
That makes sense. Oh.
That makes a lot more sense now. But they
Now I'm more upset that we had the Lakers stolen from us.
they moved very, very early on.
I'm more upset about that. Damn. Oh well. Because that's actually a great name for a basketball team for us. That would have been great.
Exactly.
Way better than the Timberwolves. I love that.
Yeah.
Minnesota Lakers? That'd be great.
See what I mean, though? So, yeah, back in the old days, they probably won several. Yeah.
They must have, yeah. And then, of course, then they have the 2 from baseball.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Is there any others on here that are kind of interesting? You kept bringing up. I know you kept bringing up San Antonio, but actually they only have 5 wins, and they're all
basketball because it's
or basketball. Sorry, yeah.
It's the only thing they have in San Antonio.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Cincinnati,
I didn't know if they had stuff prior in the ABA.
I mean, they only have 5 championships, so I don't know if any of those.
I think that's all
have been.
NBA.
That's okay. Oh, yeah. The other fun one, interesting. The one team that had won a CFL championship. Do you just want to guess for the funsies of it?
I'll guess a city.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you a clue. It's an East Coast city.
I was going to say Buffalo.
Yeah, not bad. It's Baltimore. It was Baltimore, and I actually have it pulled up. Funnily enough, in 1995, they had a CFL team called the Baltimore Stallions that won the Cup 37-20 against the Calgary Stampeders. So when I first heard about it, I went, "Oh, that must be a really old team." 95, not that old. Old, but not that old.
The CFL hasn't been around that long.
Actually, surprisingly enough, 1909.
Really?
1909.
Call me a weirdo then.
Yeah. Apparently that's when it officially started.
Call me
It might have had a different name then, to be fair, but that's what, according to this is where the league started.
We made it through that. I wasn't sure we were going to there for a minute. But no, like, I knew the beginning cities. Like, I knew New York had to be number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Yankees have just won so fucking many things.
Like I said, like, most of them were actually pretty obvious.
And I knew Boston was going to be pretty high up there because they've won a fuckload of shit. And then I knew LA was going to be up there because they had so many teams and they won a fuckload of shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, well, now where do we go? Do we go to Chicago? Because they're a populous city and they've got a lot of teams. You know,
to be fair, most of the like I said, most of the cities that were on the list were big populous cities.
And it was also the idea
and teams that had like old teams, you know.
Yeah, and it's trying to figure out which teams were newer and which teams were older was the hardest part. Because I know, like, Miami is a newer team, but I also know they've got a couple of championships. Mm-hmm. I know the Heat have won a couple of things, and you know, I know Tampa Bay has the Buccaneers, which are a little they're not new. But they're newer. And the Lightning, which are newer, but also have a fuckload of championships. They've got like 4
But they just haven't. They just haven't been around long enough to catch up with the other guys who've been around
they
longer.
haven't. That's the problem. And then
Exactly.
I forgot about the Red Wings for a minute, but yeah, no, they have 11. If you were looking at Canadian cities, I wonder how many fucking Montreal has just off
Probably a lot.
off the fucking Montreal Canadiens.
Like I
alone.
I was gonna say I imagine Edmonton's probably would have a decent
Jesus
amount on there
Christ,
too.
just because of all the times with 99.
Exactly. So they probably would have been probably up on that list easily.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, overall I thought it was an interesting time. Interesting because it was just kind of fun because it's just kind of like, you know,
how many do they have? And because if you had me name a number, we would have been here all day.
No, I know. That's why I immediately thought about it. When I thought about it, I was just like, "That's not gonna work. I'm just gonna have to give them the number as the beginning." As the beginning. Yeah, that's why I was like, "No, I'm just gonna have to give them the number as the initial guess and just kind of go from there."
Yes.
So I figured at least giving you that initial guess would be enough. Yeah, because like honestly, like the places that had been around the longest were probably the ones that were gonna have the most amount of championships. That's just naturally how that works.
That's true. All right, some wrap up stuff because I did miss a little bit of news.
Okay.
So Dallas Eakins out in Anaheim. He will no longer be the head coach of the Ducks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Lavallee out in DC. Will no longer coach the Capitals. Larson out in Cleveland. Will no longer coach the Blue Jackets. And after they missed, the Penguins cleaned out their front office. Ron Hextall is gone. Brian Burke is gone, and some other guy is gone. All of that is gone. So, apparently, though, the Coyotes have a good coach because Tournier is going to coach Canada at the Worlds. Who knows? Outside of that, like we said, the NHL playoffs are started. The NBA playoffs have begun. We don't follow enough NBA for us to be able to even make a remotely informed decision on that.
True.
Baseball has begun, and we're both really excited for that. The draft is this coming week, right?
I believe it starts. Is it Friday? I think it's Friday, isn't it?
I don't want to say so.
It's either Thursday or Friday. It might be Thursday.
It starts. Hold on. April the 27th, Thursday.
Thursday.
But not this Thursday, a week from
next
this
Thursday. Yeah. Not this Thursday, next Thursday.
Not this Thursday, next Thursday. We have one more show between now and the draft, and then we will have the draft to talk about the week after. Which will, of course, be a fucking blast.
I certainly hope so, but who knows?
You never know.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of ups and downs.
I would imagine so, too. I hope for us, for the Vikings, it's more up than down.
Yeah.
We could use that.
I'm hoping we draft a QB at some point, and one that's at least considered decent. Like,
I agree.
We need a succession plan, damn it. Like, come on.
We do. I'll also say something that we might want to do. Something I think that might be interesting. And I'll think about it for next week, so we can talk about it. I saw something from Brandon Perna, who broke down why the Broncos are in the state they're in.
Yeah, I didn't watch the video, but I did see it.
And he, very interestingly, he went through all of their draft picks and then who was around them that they could have taken, that they should have taken.
Yeah.
I would love to do the same thing. Like, let's look at the past, like, decade worth of drafts for Minnesota and see where they went wrong, what they busted on, and let's grade them. Let's take a look at the last, like, 10 years of Minnesota Vikings drafts and give them a grade. A+ through F-.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly do that. I mean, we do also have to. I mean, to me, I also like to try to weigh into what people were thinking at the time, because you got to remember that like people are always talking about like the Tom Brady situation where they're like, "Oh my God, he got picked so late.
Well,
How
yeah,
could
but
they
he
have
didn't really
managed to let
play a
him
whole
slip?"
hell of a lot in
Well,
college.
that's what I was gonna say. Is when if I'm gonna do that, I'm also gonna weigh up the fact that some players still might not have had a lot of knowledge on them, so some teams might not have been willing to take risks on certain
You
players
can,
still.
but like for example,
So, so it just doesn't seem fair to be like, oh, they didn't pick Tom Brady, so obviously it's like it doesn't seem fair to weigh that too heavily, right? So there has to be some, at least in my opinion, some mitigation as far as knowledge for teams as well.
well,
But that's just my
here's it
personal
for
preference on that.
example. If we go the last decade, that'd be 2013, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Starting with the 2013 draft, we had 3 first round picks.
Mhm.
Can you name any of them?
In 2013,
Yeah. At least one of them you should know. One of
was
them is still in the league.
I was trying
I
to
think
figure out
2
was
of them are still in the league.
Ponder was before after
Ponder
2013, right?
was either before or after that, yes.
He was no, he might have been a year before. He might have been 2012. Is this the year with Peterson then?
No.
Was Peterson before this then too?
Believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 of them are still in the league. One of them only made it 3 years.
See, the problem that I have is that whenever it comes to the 13s, like the early or the mid to early yachts like that, I guess they're not. I guess it would be like late 2010s or whatever, or mid 2010s. Just a weird time frame. My brain just gets mush when it comes to between 2010 and 2015. I don't think was Harvin was before that too, right? I don't even was Harvin even a first round pick? I think he was,
I think he was.
but I think that wasn't this year. So,
You're in the right state though for at least one of them.
huh?
You're in the right state for one of them.
That doesn't help enough, unfortunately.
So, the first pick we had was 23rd overall, and we picked defensive tackle Sharif Floyd.
Oh, Floyd, that's right.
He played 3 years.
Yeah.
We also had the 25th overall pick,
Uh-huh.
where we grabbed Xavier Rhodes. And that was pretty good. He's still playing.
He is, but his style of play never really suited our defense very well, though. That's the problem.
And we had the 29th overall pick, where we grabbed speedy wide receiver from Tennessee, Cordero Patterson.
That one hurts because when we had him, we just couldn't make him work, and then when he got moved to other teams, they found ways to make him work.
And then somebody made him a running back, and he suddenly became an all-pro.
Well, running back / utility Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's what he is in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's actually not a bad pick, but the problem is with how long it took for him to develop. It was a bad pick for
the rest
us
of that
'cause
draft
we didn't
was
get that.
Gerald Hodges,
Okay.
Jeff Locke, Jeff Baca, Michael Matui, Travis Bond, and Everett Dawkins.
I mean, I think the pick there is good. It just sucks that we didn't get the benefit from what he could have been. Because we just didn't know how to properly utilize him, I think, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a bad pick. I think it's just a bad pick for us. Again.
Probably.
Probably there's not too many... I don't know how many other good players to pick that would have been in the same area, though. There's probably some, definitely, but I'm just trying to think of ones that I'm obviously blanking on a lot of players in that era, so...
Like I said, in 2014, we had 2 first-round picks.
Of course we did. Vikings are known for blowing first-round picks, apparently.
Actually, both of these were good.
Oh, okay.
For a time.
For a time? Okay.
Yeah. We had the 9th overall pick and the 32nd overall pick.
Defense or offense?
1 defense, 1 offense.
Okay, was this the year... Oh, 9th overall. Was this the year with Peterson?
Nope. 9th overall was defense.
This would be way too early for Harrison Smith.
Actually, this would be after Harrison Smith.
Really? I forget how old that guy is.
He was 2012.
Jeez, I always forget how old he is. Would this be Hunter then?
No.
Yeah.
But you're
Am I on the right track?
Sort of. Linebacker. UCLA.
Kendricks?
No, the guy that played next to Kendricks at UCLA.
Oh, who was the one that...
He was drafted the year before Kendricks.
I don't remember who it was.
Barr.
Oh, Barr. Anthony Barr, that's right. Okay.
So who did we take 32nd overall on the offense? I'll give you a clue. It's one of the few times we've ever drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Was it Ponder?
Nope.
Who did we take? Oh, Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
That's right, yeah.
And then we also took Jerick McKinnon in the third round. That was a pretty good
Oh, that's
round.
right. That was a pretty good pick. That was a good one, too,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
Fair
mad
enough.
about that. We picked Scott Critton in the second round, and he had a 1-year career. Or in the third round. No, we had 2 third rounds. We didn't have a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but just stuff like that. Like, you look at it, and you go back, and you see, okay, how did we do? Like, here's one. We had 1 first round. We had a first, second, third, fourth, and 2 fifths, 2 sixths, and 2 sevenths. And we totally blew our first round pick.
Figures.
2015. We picked Trey Waynes.
Oof.
Now, this is also the year that we did get Eric Kendricks at inside linebacker. We got Daniel Hunter in the third round at defensive end.
Who else was available around the Trey Waynes pick that we could have possibly had access to that would have been better?
Hold on.
Like, in that same... Who else got picked that was, like, right after him? Like, a couple picks.
Well, it depends on what you think they needed, because right around
Well, that's what
there,
I'm saying. I'm kind of curious to know what around there got picked.
Just after him, Danny Shelton, nose tackle, Andres Pete, tackle, Devontae Parker, wide receiver, Melvin Gordon, running back, Kevin Johnson from Houston, cornerback, Eric Armstead, Marcus Peters, 18th.
That would have been the one.
There you go. Byron Jones.
That would have been good, too.
Yeah. DJ Humphreys. Nelson Aguilar.
Ooh, that would have been good.
Landon
been fun.
Collins.
Hmm.
Mario Edwards, defensive tackle.
I don't know if we needed it.
Anyway, the funny thing is, in the 5th round, we grabbed probably one of the better wide receivers we've had in a long time. That would be Stephon Diggs. Yeah. But, you look at that and you go, okay, what? Yeah.
Like I said, Vikings are known for apparently blowing first-round picks.
Yeah. You want to know who was drafted just before the Vikings drafted Trey Waynes? A guy who flashed brightly in the pan and then petered out very quickly. Todd Gurley.
Oh, Todd Gurley, yeah. Well, I mean, he was a flash in the pan for a couple years. I mean, he had like 2 or 3 years on the Rams when he was good, and then after the Rams, it was
Yeah.
He was
Melvin
good,
Gordon was drafted 15th, and he's still around. Not.
Yeah, he was good, but I don't think we need I think at that point we had Peterson, so I don't think we needed a running back.
Yeah,
so.
we didn't at the time. No. That would also be the year Jameis Winston went first overall.
Which also wouldn't be good for us either.
No. But you look at that and you think, okay, you probably should have taken Marcus Peters or Byron Jones.
Yeah. Those would have been overall better, that spot.
Yeah.
Though granted, looking at what Trey Waynes was prospected to be, I don't necessarily blame him. Trey Waynes, that's what I said, yeah. Compared to what he was supposed to be coming out of college, I mean, I can understand why they picked him. But unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Well, Marcus Peters was also prospected to be really good.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, they took a gamble expecting Waynes to be really good, and it just didn't pan out the way they hoped it would.
At all.
And sometimes that happens, and you and I both know that.
Yeah, my problem is that all of the guys they ended up taking didn't fit the system that they actually were running, and that's
rarely did.
That's the problem that I always had with how the Vikings drafted in those years. That's why I want to go back
honestly,
and look at them and be like,
Well, the big problem is, honestly, as far as I can tell, when it comes to Minnesota sports, at least as far as football, because that's the one that I follow the most. When it comes to at least the last decade of drafting, it's literally our coach and GM just not being on the same page. Whether that be when Leslie Frazier was there with Spielman, or whether that be with uh, Spielman and Zimmer.
Zimmer.
Like, Spielman just didn't get along with any of the coaches he pretty much ever
No,
worked
and then they got
with.
rid of Spielman now, and they finally brought in Adolfo Mensa, and they brought in KOC. And what do you see with those guys? You see them in pictures together, like throwing
they're
arms
literally
around
all
each other.
the time. They're literally all the time together, and their whole entire philosophy, and they have stuck to it since last year when they came aboard, was we are the parents, we coexist together.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we make decisions together like we're the adults in a marriage almost in a way.
This makes the most
And it
sense,
works.
and it's
It works.
working. And so I'm going to give them a lot of rope. They're making
Yeah.
what I think are good decisions from what I can
Now,
see.
No, I think, like I said, for me, judging how things are going to go is the big one's going to be this draft. Because the first draft, it was like, they had just come aboard. They didn't have a big bit of time. The draft was overall good, but they didn't have nearly as much time to assess and prepare as compared to this year.
Oh yeah,
This year is where I'm going to really judge how good I think these two pairs are going to work together when it comes to drafting.
we're also going to see if they can make, especially Adolfo Mensa, how he works the phones and if he can work his way to getting a good trade and what he does with Cook and Zedarius and
This is where I'm gonna really be interested to see what they do, because this to me is gonna be a very telling on what kind of leadership we're gonna have. Are they gonna be an aggressive leadership, or are they gonna be more of a laid back leadership? It'll be very interesting to see.
Exactly.
I would prefer, based upon past, I would prefer somebody to be a little bit more aggressive, because over the last 20 years, we've had only somebody being very, very passive with Spielman, and it just didn't work. I want somebody who's going to be aggressive, who's going to try to make plays, and it might be risky.
Spielman liked to trade down,
but
and then let's
I want
not
to be
forget,
interesting.
Let's not forget the years when he didn't turn a pick in time.
Oh God, I know.
That happened like 2 years in a row.
That's what I'm saying. I want somebody who's going to be aggressive. I want to see. I'm sick and tired of seeing a GMs be passive, specifically at least in Minnesota sports. I would love to see a Mensa be very aggressive this draft. I don't know if it'll happen, but I would love to see it. It'd be very encouraging to see. If he's not, then I'll be, to be honest, a little disappointed. But yeah, but we'll see.
I firmly agree. All right, I don't have anything else. I think that's been brought up. Like I said, we hope everybody out there enjoys what we do. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, share us with your friends. Let us know what you think down in the little comment section down below. We noticed that nobody really talks down there, but you know what? If you talk to us, we might talk back.
We do that sometimes.
We do that sometimes. We've tried to prove that. So, give us a little comment. Tell us what you think of us. Even if you think we're stupid, we'll probably read it out and go, hey, so-and-so thinks we're stupid. Thanks.
You're probably right.
You're probably right. We don't care. Until next time, then, we want all of the bearded nation out there to stay bearded, stay awesome, have a great week. Don't let shit get you down. Peace out.